Finally, we're back with another podcast. Sorry if you hear the mic being adjusted. I just haven't used it in a while of where I need it that much because I've been doing a lot of editing and not much else. There we go. Great start to the podcast. That always happens once in a while. Usually it's when I'm muted and on a stream that does that, but you know, it always happens. So, welcome to the High Score. And let's get right into some talk.
I'm back, you know that I never left. I got tracks and some music that you never guessed. I don't slack, don't lose, learn your lesson yet. When I get to choose what I do, I'm like a weapon. I'm not sharp as many, but got hard. I'm ready to change scars to envy, to win large and plenty. I like to play fast, never change back. Calling out, I'll pay back, cause I'm great at that.
Alright, so I like that intro. I'm glad I put that together the way I did. I might do some changes throughout the year. By the time we get into hockey season, throughout hockey season, I may make some changes a little bit to what's in it, but it should stay somewhat the same throughout at least the full season. But yeah, let me know what you think of it. I like how it came out, and that was just one of my multiple editing ventures throughout the time I've kind of been here and away. What I had a podcast out of a little like 2 weeks ago, but my computer decided to break. I had to get it replaced, and we're back. So that's why there hasn't been one recently, because of that whole thing and situation, but we're back. And to kick it off, let's get into some Utica hockey, because I'm excited. Now, the schedule's been out for a while. It wasn't necessarily officially released that I could find it at first when I was told, yeah, the schedule's out. Then I finally found it. Now, the rankings aren't out yet. I'll have a separate video on, like, the schedule and the rankings itself when the rankings come out, when there's a preseason ranking out. But as of right now, we do have the schedule and where. We don't have who's playing the Thanksgiving tournament yet. That we won't know for a while. But we do know what the website does tell us, and that's every game in terms of regular season. So you start your season against SUNY Potsdam. That is October 22nd, and it's 99% of these games are going to be 7 p.m. games. I love Utica games at 7 p.m. on a Saturday. This is just an exhibition, keep in mind. But it's a great time for a home opener. I love home openers being the opening thing, or the opener for the season, just because it just brings a little bit more energy than if it's just, your first home opener, I think. There's a different atmosphere from your first game and your home opener than your home opener being 2 or 3 in. But that's not to say a home atmosphere 2 or 3 or the second or third game in isn't good. It's just I like the one of it being an opening game and a home game, or the opening for the season and the home opener more. But you have an exhibition at SUNY Potsdam coming to Utica. Then you have back-to-back away games, October 28th and 29th, playing against Adrian College. Then you see Utica go back on the road for their third and fourth straight against Stevenson, November 4th and 5th. Now, the first 3 o'clock game will be November 5th against Stevenson. Then you have Utica comes back into town November 12th and 13th for a back-to-back against Chatham. And then you see them play Wilkes the weekend after, November 18th and 19th at home. Then you have the Thanksgiving Showcase, 25th, 26th. Teddy Bear Toss, December 3rd against Oswego State. That's going to be the game right there. That's going to be the one that everybody's going to want to go to, like normal. That one's going to be probably the most packed game, and side by side with the home opener, season opener. They're the same thing. I don't know why I should have put them together, not put a slight pause. And then if Utica can make the UCHC. And then you have Utica going on the road, playing the USA U18 team on December 10th. Then you have them play rival Manhattanville January 6th and 7th on the road. That hurts that game is not in Utica this year, but I'm looking forward to it next year because last year when Manhattanville came in for the UCHC, it was off the wall. I think just as much, if not more so than normal. It was off the wall. It was great. It was a wild game. That was a wild game. So every UCHC game was last year at the end of the year. But yeah, you have those two on the road, and then Utica comes back home the 13th and 14th to play Newman University. Then you have them home still for Lebanon on January 21st and 22nd. Then you have a home and away versus Nazareth on the 27th and 28th of January. And then Utica comes back home for their last two home games of the year in the regular season versus King's College. Then they hit on February 3rd and 4th. Then you have them hit the road and play Alvernia February 10th and 11th. And then February 18th and 19th, Utica finishes up the season with Arcadia. The earliest game is going to be at 12:15, apparently at Arcadia. Some Sunday games are 3 o'clocks or 2 o'clocks. Some are 7. All Saturday games are at 7. And you never know, some things could change with the schedule. I mean, we are over a month out, but as of right now, that's how the schedule looks. And following that, you'll have your UCHC. And honestly, I'm excited for this year because I think Utica can do some big things depending on who they lose. I don't know exactly who they're going to lose. I know you just had Dalmate leave on a transfer to UNLV. There was Brett was assured to leave. He was a fifth year, if I'm not mistaken. Same thing with Mick. Was it Mick or Jamie? No, I think it was Jamie Bussell. I don't know if Mick Curran was one. See, now I'm like I confuse myself about who was fifth year or who was a fifth year senior because I haven't looked in a while and I haven't really talked to UC in a while in terms of roster. Now let me pull up the roster so I can be sure because I don't want to say anything that's wrong. But you did have those few departures set in stone, and then you have the seniors of are they going to use their fifth year, and everybody else is just let's see what you can do. Let's see who's staying, and I can't wait because I have a feeling this year is going to be a fun year. Yeah, this is not giving me eligibility years. Fun. I love when I choose the wrong website on the first click. It's not what I want either. Anyways, yeah, I can't find the roster. I don't know why it's so hard to find the roster on the first search. I'm never ready for a podcast, apparently. Come on. Okay. So, your set in stone departures of fifth years are Brett Everson. That I knew off the top of my head. Now, Mick is a fourth year, so he could come back another year. Jamie Bussell, graduate. He was a fifth year. Vaden McManus was a fifth year. And was there one more? No. I don't know why I thought there was one more. But, see, losing... I know Jamie did sign... did he sign? Was he the one... One Utica guy signed. I think it was Buse that signed somewhere. But good luck to all those guys that are leaving. And any seniors that are leaving that we don't know about that aren't set in stone as of right now. And we won't know who is staying and who isn't until the roster is announced, which could be any time now. You never know. I mean, we are ticking down to the season. And the big question here is, what could a recruiting class look like? There's going to be a couple holes to fill. How are you going to fill them? But figured I'd talk on that schedule a little bit. I am excited for this season in terms of Utica College hockey. I'm excited to watch this team. I can't wait to see what the Herd's doing this year because they're wild in their own right. Then again, so am I, and sometimes our section can get really crazy. That's a good thing because sometimes it's like I have a megaphone over there, and sometimes I'm always like, all right, I need somebody else to push me because when the Herd was there, it would always be I'd set them off or they'd set me off in terms of getting somebody louder. But we'll see this year. I'm not going to make every Utica home game, but hoping to make as many as possible. And hopefully I can have a better camera to get better clips from there. Because it wasn't great getting clips from a phone that sometimes will have an audio issue here and there. Or it doesn't get the video exactly how I want it. So that is on the horizon. I am currently waiting to get one, a camera. So we'll see how that goes, because I want to get one to get good footage of the play from not only the Utica College but the Utica Comets. And speaking of transitioning into Utica Comets talk for a little bit, the Utica Comets. This is going to be an interesting year. New Jersey just got goalie depth, so it looks like Dawes could be down, because you've got Bernier on the IR, you've got Vanacek who just came in, and you have Blackwood up there. Do you need Dawes up there? Not really. Would you be fine? I think the better option would be send him down, keep him active down in Utica. They have Mittens ready in case that doesn't happen to come back up. But as of right now, if I were the Devils, I would have your two goalies up there in Blackwood and Vanacek. Dawes and Schmidt in Utica, and then at Adirondack, you've got Mittens. Until something changes or somebody gets hurt, which it's bound to happen. New Jersey always has goalie problems with somebody getting hurt. And we'll see what happens, but as going into the season, hopefully that's what it looks like, because I do want it. It wouldn't be bad to see Dawes still down in Utica anchoring, because there was games where I was like, yep, this guy was in the NHL at one point, eh? Yeah. And, I mean, they did lose a couple pieces like DeLeo and Greer, which I think they were decent losses to the roster itself in Utica. I didn't like losing DeLeo or Greer or really anybody. But they also did get... I mean, Stillman could be here for a full year. The guy, I still can't pronounce his name, the third-round draft pick, could be here for a full year. Van Wy could be playing a full year. There's another draft pick they picked up mid-year. I forget his name. He was playing forward near the end of the year. Oh, I should know this. Now I have to find it. And then you have, Theo Chardis that came up and played a little bit. And you have a couple fringe AHL guys maybe here and there that could be decent. I mean, we could see LeBurge took a big step last year. Let's hope he can continue that. Let's see what Talviti can do this year. I mean, there's some... With losing the pieces that Utica did, and the potential for Holtz or Fabian Zetterlund or maybe Ball or Walsh to move up, they're in a spot where you got to be hoping, please everybody come back, because I think Utica should want to make a big run this year. They should. They could have been a lot closer if they had just focused and not lost their drive and took their foot off the gas pedal and just been accepted defeat like they did last year at times near the end of the year. It was like that magic from the beginning of the year is gone. Not only that, you had problems with... don't even get me started. I'm going to start with this. Power plays. We could score better on the shorthanded after the first half of the season, maybe not even that, than during our power plays. I remember during one of the games, someone said something in our area when we were up in 203 sometimes we're a lot better. I'm paraphrasing. Sometimes we're a lot better on the penalty kill, or we're a lot better on the penalty kill than we are on power play. Something like that. And I looked at him and said, yeah, we usually are. I don't know why. Well, I do, but it's I don't know why it continues to be like this, but it just does. you would see guys take shorthanded goals all day. There was a time where I remember a shorthanded goal like at least once a week. But the power play goals weren't coming in compared to the shorthanded goals. The power play production wasn't there. And when you have a team that's just about like, they would play fast in and out of the offensive zone. That didn't work for a time. For a little bit it didn't, and for a little bit it did. But then they started playing near the end of the season like this game where they're shooting it back and forth to each other in the neutral or in their own zone, and I'm just like, up ice, go up ice. You have half their team in the neutral zone, and you can set yourself up in a 3-on-2 if you if you do this right. Go, stop sitting in the neutral zone. What do? They're just passing around the puck. I don't even know. It gets me angry. It gets me really angry. Because watching this team waste power play opportunities, passing in every zone but the attacking zone, sucked. And there'd be times where I'm like, okay, you're in the offensive zone on the power play. Shuffle that puck around and find your open man, because there's going to be one. There's going to be some good shots you can find if you shuffle around. Great example, New York Rangers. Look at where Mika sets up. He sets up around that. He sets up in kind of an Ovechkin-like spot, but he doesn't set up as close to the boards in that circle. He sets up more towards your right point man in terms of circle, because he sits on the left side. He sits on that right corner of the circle, if you can say that. And look at how sometimes they'll get into like a box. You'll have a box. Too low, too high, or too low, too like mid-level, and then you'll have your one defenseman up high. Look at how the Rangers would do their passing. They would be fluid, just like moving the puck around, and when they found that open man, they ripped it. That's not what Utica would do after a while. After a while, Utica just became like a... When they got in the zone, they weren't picking their shots. They were just taking them wildly. Or they were taking bad shots. Or they weren't setting themselves up right. Or they weren't setting up at all. And there's times where you're rushing, or if you rush the zone, it works. But it doesn't work all the time. That's where some games I'd be like, yeah, we're doing fine rushing the zone on a power play. And other times I'm like, this isn't going to work. We're not going to be able to rush the zone on this team. And for a while, there was a lot of, and I think this is true for most of the season, and even at times when I get it, Utica was injured for a while. But still, there was a lot of dink and dump in the passing, or in the power play, where you just see like, oh yeah, we're going to send it in, we're going to send the puck before we're even in, we're going to send it down the boards, and then I'll go in after it. It's like, at that point, you're sending it to one of their defensemen at that point, or somebody on the boards that isn't on your squad, and then they're sending it back down the ice and giving them odd man rushes, or they're giving them rushes in general, where you're getting caught off guard, and it's like, why? What is your problem? But that is one aspect they need to get better in this year, is power play. You've got to drill it that power play is important. Where did they succeed early on? Power play. That's why they won. That's part of the reason they won 13 games in a row. Power play goals. That's the reason they won for a while, was they were just hammering it away at the power play, and nobody could stop them. And then when they stopped utilizing that, it got him. The teams caught him with it, because you're not going to be able to do that. You can't get caught slacking. You just can't. That's like going into a game and then just saying, forgot a penalty kill. We do everything else great, but forgot a penalty kill. Well, then you're screwed. But yeah, I mean, this team, that I guarantee you it's going to be another season of like, there's going to be times where I get really angry because this team does something that is so stupid. And then other times where I'm so happy because this team can score a shorthanded goal and it saves them in a game. Look at Rochester when they played them. I forget when it was. I think it was the last time. Where I remember I was sitting high 203. I think it was row R. I know, yeah, because it was second one down from the top. And you had a group of about 5 to 10 Rochester fans in 202 at the top, in the top two rows. And top two, top three. Now, they scored first on a power play. And Rochester starts going. Then Utica scores a short. I think they scored a short-hander, and then they scored a 5-on-5, and then they shut up, and it erupted. It's like you gotta be able to do that to a team. You can't just say. There were times where Utica would take their foot off the pedal, and I'm sitting there going, "Guys, what are you doing? You're giving up. There's so much time where you could be fighting, and you're just giving up." And it would be depressing sometimes. Early in the season, that team had a lot of fight. Look at against the Wolfpack. When I was there, I was supporting the Wolfpack. I know it's dangerous to go in there and say I'm a Wolfpack fan because you should kind of be afraid because of their attitude towards the Wolfpack because when they were with Vancouver. But Wolfpack went into their house and beat them. And Utica just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And it was like, I'm scared because I know how good Utica was at the beginning of the season where it's like, I don't know if Utica's going to answer back or what. They didn't end up answering back, but they came so close that it's like, I mean, you tried your best. That's all you can ask for. And then near the end of the season, I'm sitting here going, well, we lost because we're down by 1, and the guys took their foot off the pedal at times with 2 minutes left or 3 minutes left. Because there was times where they take their foot off the pedal, and I'm like, please don't, because this is gonna disappoint me that we're just stopping the playing. Now let me get the name. Who was it? Hallinan. That's who it was that came in mid-year. But yeah, you had there was some guys that came down that I said that came in mid-season. That's like I'm excited. I want to see what they can do. Well, there was times where they weren't here, or they didn't play. I mean, you didn't see much of Van Wy outside of a game or two. He was part of the Black Ace squad. He was part of your like sitting. What's it called? Part of your depth that's not actually on the bench. I don't know. I want to see what the role that they take. Not only that, what role are certain guys going to fill with certain guys leaving? You don't know. Alright, but anyways, I guess we'll end there. Could have gone into Rangers, but I think I'll save that for another episode because we have carried it over our normal minimum time of 20 minutes. Yeah, let me know any Utica Comets or Utica College fans what you think of the teams going into this year. What do you think of Utica Comets additions? And guys like Luke Stevens is back. They got another Bratt. Brother of Jesper Bratt, I'm pretty sure. And then another guy here and there to shore up the holes that were left. But other than that, it's pretty much a mostly similar roster outlook as of right now. Plus, Utica College shouldn't change very much with 3 graduates. And depending on who does or doesn't use their 5th year, maybe a couple other guys leaving. Don't know. But until then, this has been the High Score Podcast with a new intro and everything. Signing out.